My daughter betrayed me by helping my late husband's affair partner prove the paternity of her half-sibling, so I use her inheritance money for child support to show her actions have consequences. Backstory: 2 years ago, I, 46F, lost my husband in an accident, and I was heartbroken. We had 3 children, and I thought we were very happy until his mistress showed up at my door, demanding money to support the child my husband fathered. I didn't believe her, but she was able to prove it with screenshots, messages, etc. The image I had of my husband was forever tainted, and he left me with this mess. Because of my bitterness about the betrayal and my offense at the mistress's lack of remorse and entitlement, I told her she wasn't getting a dime and that she shouldn't have slept with a married man. She kept harassing me, and when that didn't work, she went to my husband's family to put pressure on me to give her what she wanted. She even tried to involve my children, leveraging her silence for money. I knew that once I gave her money, she would come back, so I told them myself. My husband and I had well-paying jobs, lucrative investments, and savings, and I received a sizable amount from the life insurance policy. I consulted a lawyer, and while she could prove the affair, it didn't prove paternity. Since my husband wasn't on the birth certificate, and she couldn't produce evidence that my husband acknowledged the child, she had no case. After my lawyer sent her a strongly worded letter, I didn't hear from her for a while and thought it was over, that is, until my oldest, Alex, 19F, came to me and said that she did a DNA test with the mistress behind my back. She said she did it because she wanted to get this resolved. The child deserved to know who their father was, and get the financial support they were owed. My husband had a will that stated each of his children would split an inheritance they could access when they went to college and gained full control of at the age of 25. When the results came back proving that my husband was indeed the father, the mistress took me to court. It was a long legal battle, but eventually, a settlement was made. I sat Alex down and explained to her that her inheritance would be split 50-50 between her and her half-sibling as part of the settlement agreement. When she asked if my other children had to split theirs, I told Alex, no. My husband's will stated that it had to be split, but it didn't say it had to be equal, and until each of the children turned 25, I had full control. Alex was upset, saying that it wasn't fair. I countered, saying that it wasn't fair that my other 2 children had to get a lesser share because of my eldest's choices, and if they wanted their full share, they shouldn't have done the DNA test. There's still plenty of money for Alex to finish college, she just won't have much after that, and I do plan on dividing my own estate equally in my will. Alex knows all of this but is still giving me the cold shoulder. My own siblings think that it wasn't fair and that I'm punishing Alex for doing right by her half-sibling, but I don't see it that way. Edit. Thank you to everyone for your responses, even those calling me the jerk. Based on a few frequent questions, comments, and themes, I feel like I need to clarify some things. My other 2 children are Junior, 17M, and Sam, 14F. The half-sibling is now 5. When my husband drafted the will 10 years ago, he initially named just our children, but a friend of ours had an oops baby, so he changed it to his children in case we had another one. At least, that's what he told me. After the mistress threatened to tell my children, I decided to tell them. I sat them all down and explained the situation. They were understandably devastated and asked if they really had another sibling. I told them that I didn't know and that if the mistress could prove it, she might get some money. I explained that if they wanted to know if they had a sibling or not, we could find out, but I made sure they understood that their inheritance could be affected and that other people might come out claiming the same thing and get more money. Initially, all of my children said they didn't want to deal with that, so I did everything I could to protect them, but I guess Alex had a change of heart. Until the DNA test, I had no reason to believe my husband's mistress was telling the truth and acted accordingly. I kept following my lawyer's advice, and if she wanted the money, the burden of proof was on her. While some of you might think I'm the jerk, please understand that my decision wasn't spiteful. If I really wanted to punish Alex, I would just tell her she wasn't getting any more money since she already used some of it for her first year of college, so the guidelines of the will were technically already met. I still plan on leaving them an equal share of inheritance from my estate too. Update 1. Thank you so much for all the responses, even those who didn't fully agree with me, because they provided valuable perspective. I also wanted to give an update and answer some questions for anyone who is curious, so here it goes. Since I told Alex what would be happening, she told her siblings, and the house has been pretty tense. To try and make peace, I spoke to each of my children one-on-one and as a group to figure out what to do next. I spoke to Alex first, and some interesting information was revealed that I'm very angry about. Apparently, the mistress created a fake profile and manipulated my daughter into befriending her. After gaining my daughter's trust, she pretended that she was in a similar situation and said that a DNA test would prove there was no paternity. When Alex went behind our backs, she thought it would prove the mistress was trying to scam us. My son Junior, 17M, is furious that Alex went behind our backs and doesn't care why she did it. He blames her for them being stuck with a half-sibling he doesn't want. My daughter, Sam, 14F, said she wishes she never knew the truth and is deeply upset. I asked my children if, now that they know the truth, they would want a relationship with their half-sibling. Junior clearly wants nothing to do with the child and says that Alex should feel lucky he still considers her a sister. Sam says she doesn't want to, and I feel it's because she's in denial and wants to live life pretending her father was perfect. Alex admits she is curious but never wants to see or hear from the mistress again, so she doesn't think a meeting will ever be possible. I propose family therapy, and while my girls are open to it, my son says therapy is only for people who have something broken in them, and that he's not broken. He is now happy that his father is out of the picture and wants to change his last name as soon as he turns 18. I'm not going to force him, but I do hope he changes his mind one day. Edit. For clarification, because I keep seeing this, before I made my first post and before I told Alex what was going to happen with her share of the trust, the settlement was already finalized. I can't do anything about Alex's portion of the inheritance going to her half-sibling anymore. Technically, I could go back and renegotiate the terms of the settlement, but the mistress could try to come back for more money. Initially, she wanted the entire life insurance policy, 50% of the trust for just her child, and 50% of my husband's savings. Her argument was that since I was still working and had a high-paying job, my children and I didn't need the money and she was a struggling single mother. I'm honestly getting exhausted with everything to do with that woman and don't want to spend more on legal fees. I have not, now nor have I ever, blamed Alex for her father cheating on me. That is ridiculous, and I don't know how people are coming to that conclusion, especially when I never said that it was her fault. Sister's POV plus context. I, 14F, lost my dad in an accident almost 3 years ago, and I was so upset. 1 minute he was there, and then my mom and grandparents sat me, my sister, 19F, and my brother, 17M, down to say that he was in the hospital. 3 days later, he was gone. I loved my dad so much, and while I knew he wasn't perfect, I still thought he was a great man. Then one day, my mom, 46F, sat me and my siblings down again and told us that a woman was going around claiming that her child was also dad's. The child is younger than me, which meant my father cheated. We were all very upset and refused to believe that our dad would be so horrible. The only reason my mom was telling us was because the woman threatened to if she wasn't given money to go away. From that day forward, I knew I would hate her for the rest of my life because we were starting to get used to my dad not being around, and she shoved her greedy hands into our family. My mom offered to do a DNA test to prove if this child was really our half-sibling, and my siblings and I all said no. It was a stressful battle for my mom, but she fought for us, and eventually, the woman went away. Then my sister decided to do the DNA test behind our backs and proved my dad wasn't a good person. I don't know if I can ever forgive my sister for doing that to me. My sister is upset that my brother and I don't support her decision, but I don't see why I should. I wanted this woman to go away forever, but now that there's undeniable proof that she had my dad's last child, unless there's another baby out there somewhere, my paternal grandparents want a relationship, and they want me to just accept it and be a big sister. I don't want to. My brother is extremely against this and wants to legally change his name when he turns 18. I'm honestly thinking of changing my surname too because my paternal family is starting to be really awful to my mom. My grandma is acting like having this child around is a blessing, and it's incredibly insulting to my mom, but I guess her feelings don't matter to them anymore. For Christmas, my paternal side wants us all to do a Zoom meeting so we can officially meet my dad's other child, give them presents, and tell them we can't wait to see them in person. I don't want to do that. I don't want to see my dad's mistress. I don't want to pretend that I have good feelings towards this kid. I don't know them and don't care to know them. Their existence is just a painful reminder of the awful thing my dad did, how little he cared about my mom, and how easily replaceable I am as the baby of the family. My paternal aunts know that this situation isn't ideal but think that I'm being selfish and need to learn to get past what's happened, but I don't see why I should.